Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. I had a friend of mine ask if he can borrow a Yamaha igniter for a golf cart, and I said, well, I'll look around, see what I got. And very quickly I figured out I really don't have any Yamahas. So we're going to take a quick tour of the Hoard Golf Cart inventory. That is a club car. That is not a Yamaha or EZGO. So club car, and she runs. Then obviously I have the mule, which is, some of you would perhaps be insulted if you own mules, but I kind of consider it like a golf cart. It's a two-cylinder motorcycle engine driving a torque converter. Right? What's a golf cart? One cylinder, unless you have the bigger guys, then two-cylinder driving a torque converter. This is an electric EZGO. Right? You guys can see the electric motor right there. This is a Yamaha, a gas-powered Yamaha, but there is no engine. There's really nothing under the hood on that. I don't know if you guys, if any of you guys are considering a conversion, and if you want to do a gas-powered one, oh God, it's actually fairly easy. You basically have to smash a motor here. You get to keep the suspension and everything, right? Assuming your motor's not too tall and your seat will close, right? But if you have any of the China engines where the cylinders kind of run almost horizontally, that's no big deal. And you got to spin this pulley. Some people have machined a little stub that you put on the end of like a 6.5 horsepower Predator engine, so that you can smash the torque converter that used to be, in this case, on the Yamaha engine. You kind of smash the torque converter end right on it, and you could drive this. Or some people have gone for much bigger engines. There's a guy on YouTube, I think he smashed a 13 underneath here. So anyway, this is a Yamaha, and once again, the engine would sit right there. They actually use this cradle here to bolt the engine up too. I think, yeah, part of the engine bolts. There's a couple of bolts, and they do some mounting right there. This is where, right there, is where the igniter would go. The golf cart people call it an igniter. It's basically a CDI unit. Out cruising the Hoard for parts. This is an electric, I think it's a club car. The club cars were considered kind of the better golf carts. They had like aluminum frames and a little better suspension. EZGO and Yamaha, from a quality point of view, I think they're pretty much the same. It was the club cars that were supposed to be the better one. Nope, Harvey isn't broken yet. Yeah, I'm just looking around because, sorry about the wind, guys. I don't always remember what I have. This guy here is another club car, right? And as I recall, there's no engine in here. Yep, club car, no engine. This is actually a complete, this is a total complete Yamaha. But the problem with it is, and if you're buying a used golf cart, you guys want to check this. See down over there that rail, and let's see if I can't, right along there, right, actually right there, that rail, that's where the battery hangs out. And I'm not going to dig this one out to show you, but that rail is actually rotted away. There's about a 6-8 inch section, last I looked, missing of that rail. But other than that, this is complete. This is actually a shame. I bought this wanting to pull the engine out and put it in that guy, and I just never got around to it. You can see how long. And this thing's heyday was, what, 12 years ago? So there's those. This is a 2-cycle Yamaha. I'd be surprised if it uses the same pulsar as a 4-cycle. Let's see if anything's living under the seat. Actually, it won't let me go under the seat. Get under the seat in this. I'm going to have to dance about on this. This one was more or less complete, as I recall. And leaving it out like this is not good for it. Also, that's not good for engines. Another go-kart. This is one of those 6x6 things. I bought it really for the transmission and the brakes. I got to do something with that too. It's not a bad thing to roam around the Hoard because it also wakes me up to the condition of some of my toys, and I either have to figure out how to get them under better cover. We've had a lot of wind. You could see stuff falling over. And last but not least in my hoard of golf carts is this EZGO Workman. It belonged to an apartment complex. They ran the hell out of it. Actually, kind of a shame. They put a load of money into it just before I got it. And the story on it was that a bunch of these others, that one came from a private guy. I'm not sure where he got it from. But the bigger hoard of golf carts, golf course went out of business or got sold or whatever. Palisades Golf Course, or I think New York State used to own it. So I'm not sure if they dished out the concession of the people running the golf carts or what the story was, but up at state auction was a whole load of golf carts, and a buddy of mine had a connection with the guy who bought all the golf carts. So that's where the bulk of the golf carts came from. The one that came from the apartment complex, that guy, they were using it around an apartment complex. They bought it and they ran it, and the engine got into trouble, and they put a fortune into the engine. I think like $1,400 into getting the engine redone and so forth. And after they did that, the golf cart was not reliable. So it began to sit around more and more and more until finally it sat around and wouldn't start and got uglier and got in the way. And a guy I met through, I think it was the Penny Saver back then. I don't even think it was Craigslist. His wife worked there, and he liked to play with small engines. He was actually a shop teacher. Not very good with small engines, though, from the work I saw him do. Anyhow, he ended up with it, and he kind of dicked around with it for a while and didn't really make any progress. Then I got it, and it turns out there was more than one thing wrong with it. The first thing that was wrong with it is that it really had a dead spot on the armature. He changed the brushes and screwed with the armature quite a bit, but it really just had a dead spot. If he would have fixed the dead spot on the armature, then he could have fixed everything else that went wrong with it from sitting. The gas went putrid, the carburetor was jammed up, stuff like that. But he never got beyond screwing around with the starter. I got the idea he paid like $500 for it. Then he put money into the starter and a few other things, and couldn't get it to run. And he kind of gave up. Then I picked up, it was that golf cart, that XR 100 over there. Right, you can see the red seat and all. An outboard motor, a bunch of lawnmowers and snowblowers. As a matter of fact, he had a whole hoard of snowblowers. I guess he was working on them for a while. That red snapper was one of the snowblowers that came from him. And once again, probably a couple of those lawnmowers came from him too. I picked up the whole load of stuff from him. And I think I gave him, it was under, it was $900, $950 or something like that. And I figured most of the money really was for that XR over here. So yeah, I got the XR from him. I got the workhorse you saw outside. I got the 2-cycle golf cart from him. That snowblower, some lawnmowers. I got an outboard motor, a pressure washer, all kinds of stuff. And I actually sold some of the stuff I got from him. I know the hoard never parts with anything, but I actually, I ended up with the stuff. I was overflowing, and some of it, somebody came by with the right numbers, and I moved some of it on. I sold the outboard motor. I think I got $100 for that. It didn't have a bottom end, it was just the top end. So I sold the outboard. I sold some of the other stuff. It was like bits and pieces, but some of it had value. I probably got a couple hundred back. So I ended up putting out $750. And if one looks at Craigslist nowadays, a nice running XR 100, one that's in pretty shape, in nice shape like that one is probably worth most of the $750. So I really don't have all that much money tied up in the workhorse and the and that 2-cycle. So that's the golf cart story. I hope you liked the story. This other stuff I'll talk about on its own. It's hard to mix videos because somebody will see, oh, a golf cart video. I have no interest in that, not watch it, which is fine, right? There's no rule anybody has to watch all my videos, though I like when you do. But if I start talking about pieces on it, and then I already talked about that. So then when I actually do talk about that golf cart, I don't talk about, the cover and why it's leaking oil and so forth. And then you guys are, what's going on with that? Well, I talked about it on the wrong video, and so everything's cross-threaded. Let's look at it that way, cross-threaded. All right, folks. I think that's about it. Other than, and I could throw this on here, other than the golf cart stuff, I've also been trying to work my way toward more organized. I mean, you guys can notice little things like the tub being empty and all. These big tubs are nice, but for a lot of the stuff I put in there, especially if you're putting these wheel hubs in there and sprockets and brake assemblies and big hunks of rear end like this, you put like 4 or 5 pieces in there and it's too big, too heavy to lift. So I'm just trying to sort stuff in such a way that it's still movable. When this stack is done, and let's call it a stack, there'll be what is that, good for another 3? There'll be 6, 10, 14, there'll be 14 boxes in that stack. And assuming it's organized fairly well, that's some pretty dense packing and quite a bit of organization all in one place. And the good thing about it is there'll be a wheeled cart here, and I really need to keep this open so I can access the stairwell. So I'll pull the cart out, go up and down the stairs, and I'll also have access to everything on there. Given that the bench is already kind of burning the space between the garage door and the wall, having that cube over there really doesn't cost me any additional space. I have a bunch of other stuff lined up from the cube to the far door that I need to go through and figure out. You know, all these things, like, now that I'm trying to get organized right, I have hordes of gas cans all over the place. Pesty if the gas in it gets old, because then you got to get rid of it somehow. You can't really use it in any of these things. But if you've ever been in the situation where the power's been out and you want to take home more than 5 gallons of gas, or you anticipate the power being out, and you want to take home, you know, a few containers of gas, it's nice to have the containers floating about. It's also nice that not every container is 5 gallons. Nowadays, if you fill this container with gas, unless you're really using it real time, it's going to go bad before you use it all up. The smaller containers are nice because, you know, you put a gallon of gas in there, and I burn about a gallon to do the lawn, maybe a little bit more. So the gas is gone in a week, right? It's not sitting about. If I'm cutting the grass, having 5 gallons around, that really won't go bad. But during the winter, if you leave 5 gallons around, it just seems with the temperature going up and down and so forth, you know, after a few months, the gas is pretty crappy. I do use stable when I think about it, and you know, I'm on my game. As a matter of fact, I try to mix stable. I try to put stable in the container before I go and fill it up. That way, as I'm filling it, it mixes well, and that way the gas is as fresh as it could be when you stabilize it, right? You're not stabilizing crappy gas. I've had some luck with that. It just, obviously with all these bikes all over the place, one of the problems I run into, the gas does go nasty, and then another carb rebuild, right? All right, I've been babbling for 17 minutes. Sorry about that. Hopefully 231 Flash got himself a sandwich before he sat down with this video. Same with Bill Stoughton. All right, folks, thanks for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your head up, and get out there and enjoy all your days. Bye now. Oh, and really do enjoy all your days. Bye.